Hello, I'm Chris with the RV Mobile Internet Resource Center with a rather unusual unboxing for you today. This is not something we'd normally take a look at. This is the AT&T Wireless Home Phone and Internet. This is designed for actual residential homes and not particularly well marketed to homes on the wheels. But AT&T recently rolled out a data plan that just makes this so compelling that we had to take a closer look. So the plans that normally would come with this would be 50 gigabytes for $100 a month or 25 gigabytes for $60 a month. And they just upped that by an order of magnitude. So the rural plan is 500 gigabytes for $100 a month or 250 gigabytes for $60 a month for a plan that runs only on this device, not on a traditional AT&T mobile hotspot. So for people who have a RV that this might work into, this is definitely worth checking out. And so we got the hardware in, we're going to take a look. And basic gist of this product is what it needs is a wireless signal and a power source. It plugs into an AC wall outlet, and then it creates a Wi-Fi network and gives you a phone jack to be a home internet and home phone line replacement for rural households in general. But hey, a house on the wheels, it counts. Let's take a look inside. You got a quick start card here. One interesting thing is it actually does have a battery, even though it's designed to run off of wall current. It has a battery so that it's intended to be battery backup. But some people have reported that it'll get about 5 to 10 hours worth of use if you don't have it plugged into AC power. And here is the little box itself. As you see, quite a bit heftier, definitely not portable like a mobile hotspot. It has on it a little warning to download the AT&T app and go log in. On the back here, so default name and password. It's nice that they're doing randomly generated passwords now instead of them all being AT&T admin like a lot of older AT&T devices did. On the back of the device, we have 2 phone ports. These would be for the phone lines that you have to plug into a conventional phone jack. Swing this around here. This is something that is really nice to see is an Ethernet jack. So you can actually hook up a regular, if you've got a router like a Wi-Fi Ranger or PepWave or just some other laptop or something you want to hook up via Ethernet, you can plug that in. Here's the power input. And see, it's a 5-volt power. So it wouldn't be too hard to adapt a 12-volt to 5-volt adapter and run this directly off of an RV's 12-volt system. Power button, and then a WPS button. That's for protected setup if you want to use that to pair. On the bottom, slide the bottom to remove, and we could look inside. I see a SIM card in the slot pre-installed, a space for a battery. There's actually a hidden USB port under here, which I wonder if there's any actual practical use for, probably not. And we'd seen somebody pointed this out online, is down here by the reset button, tucked way back in there. Those look like they might be a very, very delicate test ports to potentially allow for an external antenna. You'd have to cut a hole in the bottom of the case and figure out how to work that in, but maybe there's a potential for the external antenna. Otherwise, it's kind of disappointing there is no default antenna ports on here. What else is in the box? A user's manual. A phone jack. We don't see those very often. Regular old style plug in a genuine phone. Who uses those? AC power supply. Puts out 2 amps of 5-volt power, so would work out to be about 10 watts of power this thing could consume. And a battery. The backup battery pops down in here, it looks like. There it goes. And I think that is it for what's in the box. So we're going to go try and get this activated now, make sure that our 250 gigabyte plan actually came through as intended, and do a quick first impressions of how this compares performance in this particular location to AT&T's flagship hotspot, the Unite Explorer. Now, this is much bigger data plan and practical in a whole different way than something like this, and we're eager to see how practical this is for RVers. So I've been playing with the AT&T wireless home phone and internet device for the past 24 hours, trying it out compared to a range of other AT&T devices. And overall, it has proven to be pretty impressive, despite it is actually technically behind the scenes 3 generations out of date when it comes to LTE technology. So here is the Unite home internet device. It has been running plugged in. It is a LTE Category 3 device, which means it does not have support for LTE carrier aggregation, which lets multiple bands come together and kind of engage a turbo mode. But it has been doing quite well here in this one particular location we're at. Most recent speed test I had on it was 53.84 megabits per second down and 20 up, which is pretty phenomenal. And here you can see we actually do have a 250 gigabyte plan, and that's a $60 a month plan. We had no trouble activating it, even though we aren't in the target market. Just as a little comparison with some of the other AT&T devices we've got, like a iPhone 7 Plus, it's much more advanced radio, but here it's kicking into carrier aggregation mode. We're getting 92. I've actually had a few speed tests over 100 megabits per second.
Clarify the plans that are on each one that you're testing.
The plan on this one is these just a shared 40 gigabyte per month double data deal. These actually are sharing a plan. Oh, no, this one's actually on our old iPad unlimited plan. Sorry, I've been swapping things around so much. The iPad with the iPad Mini 4, I was getting over 100 megabits per second, doing phenomenal. These are both kicking into a carrier aggregation mode. And then what was kind of interesting is looking at AT&T's flagship mobile hotspot, the Unite Explorer, which is a Category 9 device, supports 3 times carrier aggregation. Sometimes I would get it to go into a carrier aggregation mode. I think a peak speed I saw out of it was about 80 megabits per second. But very often it would actually settle down. I think maybe trying to save power or something would be running slower, even slower than the AT&T Home. So it has a faster peak, but on average it was not doing so great. And the one generation older, the AT&T Unite Pro, was running slightly slower, but very similar to the Unite Explorer. So here, like 65 megabits per second. So Unite Explorer, Unite Pro, right there. So clearly we're in an area with phenomenal AT&T speeds, and we are not seeing the home wireless and internet running too far behind the rest of the pack. It's actually doing quite well. Oh, 58, 53, but those are still faster speeds than you really ever need for anything. Now, where this is going to potentially come into play is this doesn't have a lot of future room to get any faster, any better. It is limited to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so that's why I'm running it over Ethernet. It runs quite a bit better over Ethernet than over Wi-Fi, because 2.4 gigahertz, the channels get really crowded. And then it doesn't have, it's already basically peaking as far as AT&T's LTE technology exists, whereas something like this with a Category 9 modem probably has years and years of continually getting faster as AT&T's network evolves. Now, the biggest downside of this plan and this device is, well, it is reportedly becoming very, very hard to get. AT&T stores and AT&T online are now telling people it's going to take a month to ship. People are having hit or miss whether they're able to sign up for this rural plan. So the rural plan with the 250 gigabytes or 500 gigabytes data plans, yeah, pretty hard to beat, but some people are having a hard time getting AT&T to issue that to them. Might depend on which market you're in and which rep you get and whether the device ships before they decide to change their mind. But we weren't in a target market. We had no problem signing up. Other people have had mixed results. And that's about it. It's a really interesting plan. It's pretty interesting for RVers, and certainly hard to beat the value of it all.